Hi, Glòria here from TU Dublin, a GROWTHhub project. Today we have a talks at GROWTHhub. We have Sohini D from CEO and founder of Empeal.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Very nice to see you here.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
to be here with us. So let's start with, why did you go into business?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because I never thought that I will have a I will start on my own. Although, like, if you go back, my family, actually, I come from a business family. My grandfather, great-great-grandfather, everybody. So we come from a family business. And then my father had his own business as well. But I always thought I'd be working, and I used to be in investments. I used to be a fund manager, equity fund manager, so an investor. So what happened was, when I was an investor, I specialized in environmental strategies and sustainable investments, right? So I kind of, if you look at it this way, I saw like what we were growing, what in terms of food, what we were putting in our body, how we were getting sick, and how we were treating the sick. And that kind of frustrated me when I saw the whole cycle, because I personally was going through some personal health issues at that time as well, particularly related to stress and all that, work related and physical and all that stress. So what happened was, I realized that I went, for my personal journey, I actually went through a whole lifestyle change to handle that health issue. And I realized that even without leaving my job, just with lifestyle change, I could regain my health. And so that made me study functional medicine for 4 years while I was working for full time. And when I did that, I kind of understood. I'm a big nerd. I have to understand the science behind why things happen. So what I saw in my work life, what was happening, and then I did this, I studied and I understood the science behind how lifestyle can change that. I said, this is profound and I need to do something about it. And I can't contain it within myself. I have to do yes, I have to do something about it, and I started the business that way.
Wow, that's interesting. So when it comes then, okay, so you started because you had a problem, you saw a solution, and you went for it. And then what influenced you? Is there someone that you got that influenced you to do it, or someone at the beginning that helped you to realize, let's do it? Or I know you were a participant of the New Frontiers with Link. Is there any early influence that you can think of your beginning of your journey?
The first person I would mention is my dad. He always said that just go and do it. If you see a problem, solve it, rather than crying over it. It's so bad, the system is so bad, nothing works. If you see that, go and try to solve it.
Yeah.
Don't go crying. Then second thing was, when I set this up company, and I was thinking of going about, I'm not a technology person at all. I'm a business person. I'm not a health person. I'm not a technology person. So when I was going about how I'm going to structure the business, my co-founder and my husband actually said, look, if you want to make a huge impact, you need a product which can scale.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do it manually or in an analog way, you are not going to impact a lot of people. And I'm all about impact. All my life I was about impact. So I liked that idea. So that was second. Third is innumerable number of mentors. Like pre-seed support in Ireland for entrepreneurship is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you mentioned New Frontier. That actually was the first step. I did the New Frontiers phase 1, then phase 2. So even from phase 1, there were people like Alan Costello, Colm, and like amazing mentors, John O'Dea, who's the Bolton. So they kind of streamline my thought, you know, and gradually there were so many mentors over the year after that as well. But New Frontiers Phase 1 is one of the best, and anybody I know who wants to start a business, I always say, just go for that. If you have an idea, if you want to try and see if it works or not, or whatever, if you can go further with it, just go to Phase 1 and see. You know?
Yeah, and shape the idea to
it's
do
brilliant
something.
support.
Yeah.
Even Leo's, like local enterprise office, they are brilliant as well. I'm from Fingal, Leo, and it's one of the best.
Yeah. And what would you say for you were the startup challenges? Like, one, I'm leaving my job. That's a big challenge. Where is the money coming from? But, like, you know, like, how did you deal with the challenges, and what were the challenges that you came across?
Yeah, it's, where do I start? Challenges, as I say, like, the way I was brought up is, if there is a challenge, I was always told, if there is a challenge, there's a solution.
Yeah.
So even when I went to work, one of my bosses used to say, don't bring me problems. Bring me a problem with the solution. That solution might be absolutely wrong, but bring me a solution with that. So I know where your thinking is going. You know, so there are, to start your own business is huge challenge. I was on a very good salary. I left that job. Suddenly I was zero. I had no salary, nothing. So that's a different story. So you need to have that passion. You need to have that understanding that, no, I need to solve this problem. That otherwise it's impossible. So first challenge was knowing where to go. I have this idea. I want to do something, but do I know where I need to start?
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was, I think I saw an ad somewhere on social media about the competitive startup fund.
Yes.
Right? And I had nothing that time. And I applied for the competitive startup fund, and I did not get it. But what I got was, John O'T, who was giving me feedback on my application.
Yes. So
one thing I learned was absolutely be open to taking feedback. Now, if you're not open to take feedback, if there are challenges, you will not be able to solve it.
Yeah.
So he told me that these were the issues in your application, change it. And so while I was doing that, I saw another, social media is great, another for New Frontiers Phase 1. And I went and talked to Colm, actually.
Yeah.
That I didn't know him, but he was very, very kind, accessible. I wrote to him that, can I come and have a chat with you, because I'm thinking about this and I think this might be a good idea. So I went and I had a chat, I applied, and from there, that I solved that problem, that I don't know where to start.
Yes.
So I started. Since then, finance is an issue. Then building a team was big. Biggest problem was building the product, because I'm not a technical person, and because my co-founder was my husband as well, so we couldn't leave job together. So he was working like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night to build the product. And then the next problem was finding the product market fit. So where we started, to think that this is the product we want to build, we built it on a co-creation model, so that we would build some, give it to people who would use it, like who would be our target customers. We would give it to them to give us feedback again, take the feedback and change your thinking. So what we did was, it's not a product where you're pushing it down somebody's throat. You are actually building something which is required, which is needed in the market. So finding that product market fit was a huge challenge. But we did that, and then the biggest challenge was the COVID, because while we were doing this, by 2019 we got our first investment. So my co-founder and my husband left his job as well, so both of us were full-time in the job. In 2019 November he joined, and we were supposed to launch the product in March 2020, and we all know what happened. So it was a survival issue. Whether we will survive or not, we had no clue. And that was one one of the biggest challenges. COVID was a challenge for everybody globally, you know. But that was, for us, it was, we don't even know. And the problem was, both of us were neither from health sector, and neither, we were not born and brought up in Ireland. So nobody knew us, and we were building a health tech product. So but what we did was, we kept doing the co-creation, and we actually, within that 1.5 years, we actually improved the product significantly. So it was good that we didn't launch in March 2020, because the product actually was much better in 2021 end September. And when we did that, and we are extremely thankful to Royal College of Surgeons of Ireland, who chose us as their technology partner, had the faith in us, and we went and rolled it out for them, and it actually took it off from there. So we had a very big client, we had a very good name behind backing us, and we went with that project. There was a paper published in journals, so that supported us significantly. And what happened was, that project was a success, so now it's rolled out down in Ireland, and RCSI is bringing us wherever they're going for this project. So that reference site, then now we have one of the largest hospital chains in GCC, India. We are in Dubai with them. We are with a pharma company here, and we have very big names behind us, because we improved the product, and the product works.
So tell us a little bit more about the product, for those that are not aware yet about what Empeal does.
So the product basically is a multi-sided digital health platform. What we realized was, there's all talks about chronic disease prevention and management, but what we realized very early stage, that the lifestyle management forms a huge part of not only lifestyle management and adherence to your lifestyle recommendations and clinical recommendations is very important for your management and prevention of chronic conditions. And nobody is connecting that lifestyle and clinical data. So we thought that that is the root cause, and we tested it, as I say, and we realized that that's correct. So we gather a huge amount of data. Like, we at the moment we sync into 25 devices, apps, wearables, and on top of that we have innumerable intelligent assessments from our clients whom we work with, all validated. So these data then goes into our AI engine. And what we do is, as I said, it's a multi-sided platform. On one side you have the individuals or patients, and on the other side you have their clinical teams, lifestyle management teams from our clients. So they are our clients' clinical and lifestyle teams would preload their recommendations on the AI engine. When the data comes in and it matches those levels of recommendations, so the recommendations goes out straight to the users, and it just doesn't give them the recommendations. It actually works as a 24/7 health coach for those users, for them to adhere to those lifestyle and clinical recommendations, and report that adherence back to the clinical teams. So they know that it becomes an intelligent assistant to the clinical teams, care teams. So now they can scale 25 times. So initially, probably at the moment, if you don't have Empeal, what you're doing is you're calling up every patient, or you're sending reminders, blah blah blah. Now it is, that information is streamlined, and they're getting an intelligent dashboards where they know, today I only have to speak to these 5 people. So obviously, straight away, if they were helping 10 people before, now they can help hundreds of people. Because the AI takes away all the day-to-day job and the repetitive work, and gives them the intelligent information so that they can take timely action.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is, on one hand, you're improving adherence of the patients and individuals, and on the other hand, you're increasing the service potential scale for the clinical team.
Yeah, and it's incredible. Like, how did you pass from I'm having a health problem and changing my lifestyle is making a difference to I'm building this thing that big will health organizations are going to use. So that is huge development. So for that, I'm sure you needed you start from yourself and your co-founder, and then you start growing the team. So when did you make the decision that, God, me on my own, me and my co-founder, we need more people? And how did you start that, and how did you decide to build the team?
So it's not first of all, you look at the needs, do needs assessments constantly, what we need. Definitely the technical team was the first ones we needed, because we had to have a product to show people, to our customers, to our investors, because if you don't have a product, you don't have anything to get investment or get clients. So we had to build the product first. So we had to get the product team first. Our core is data. So once we build the product to get the data in, then we needed the data analysts and data scientists, because it's an AI-driven platform. Because initially we built only the platform. Then you had to build the AI engine, because otherwise you will not be able to scale. You'll still remain the same. You become a telemedicine platform or just a scheduler. You're not looking for that. You're actually wanting that scheduler to be intelligent, to actually have health outcome. So then the data scientists came, and then you realize that we need marketing support, but you need customer support, and customer care is absolutely key, because particularly for startups, people will give you grace if your product fails, because they're also innovative in a way, in their mind, your customers, if they're working with a startup. So they know that the product may fail at some point, but how quickly can you fix those problems and get things back online? That's why they're coming to you as a startup. They're not going to a big organization where the wheels turn very slowly. As a startup, you have to be constantly extremely agile, open to feedback. They will tell you what's wrong and you need to change them. So that so the customer care, customer support is extremely important. For us, it's a combination, it's a techno-functional role. To get techno-functional people is very, very scarce in Ireland. Technical people in Ireland is very, very scarce as well, or it's very expensive for startups. So you have to make a decision, whom do you want in the Irish team? We were very lucky because we both come from a country and a region where you can get extremely good talent. Where, like, our technical team, we're a startup, but we have everything built in-house. We did not, we made a conscious decision that we will not go outside. So we decided design will be here and the development will be in India, but then some people will be coming over here gradually over time but we're building a second layer. So the top layer, whom we built for the last 3 years, are now ready to come here. Now their second layer, they have prepared the second layer. So it's not only building the team, getting new people, but it's also making sure your succession. So if those guys coming to Ireland, who's going to take over that part of that business? So it's need assessment, and then financial decisions as well. Who stays where? What's the best way of working? Most
and of course, there's two cultures going on.
Yes.
In a team of people, you have very different cultures, or a very diverse culture. But that itself, I'm sure, it's a great benefit to have, but it can be a challenge. I'm sure sometimes.
I should have mentioned that. And imagine the whole team was built during COVID, so everything was built remotely. With different cultures.
Yes.
And based in different places. Like, I think they were based in 2-3 different cities in India, and we were in 2-3 cities and towns in Ireland itself. Our marketing teams in Cork, we are here, and then we had some people in Kildare and all that. So it was, and then we have collaborations with like IBM, Microsoft, and AWS, and all. So they would have people working with our teams.
Yeah.
So somebody in India who doesn't speak English and somebody in Brazil who has no idea about English, they're trying to communicate
each other.
Even like people in India talking to people in Cork. Thankfully, our marketing people all didn't have the Cork accent, but some of them would go, I actually did not understand. So, what we did was, through our app, you can have like different programs.
Yes.
So the fun part of our app, not only adherence and all the serious stuff, you can do challenges, step challenges, but also like photography challenges, cooking challenges, and you can do what we did was coffee meets. So you would randomly pair up 2 people.
Yes.
And they will have to take 15 minutes off during the week and have virtual coffees during COVID and not talk about work.
Yeah.
That was one which was taken up quite well. But yeah, that was one of the challenges I missed.
Yeah. And then on the growing, like, where is Empeal going? So what's the next step? So I know you're in Ireland, you're in India, you're in...
So we're in five regions. So UK, Ireland, Spain, in Barcelona, actually.
Oh, great city, Barcelona.
Great city, absolutely fantastic, love it. UAE and in India. And then now we're applying for a few European projects with our CSI. Hopefully we'll be in other cities in Europe. We are in very advanced discussion in France. And then like we constantly talk to people. Like, even I was in London yesterday. There are a few prospects now in outside Europe as well. So let's see
what
world domination. But where do we want to go? Yes, like, we want to help as many people as possible to avoid chronic conditions, for prevention. We want to move more towards prevention. If you ask me, in 10 years' time, we hope that the data that we are collecting will help more in prevention, predicting prevention. Empowering people more to take care of their health, and for them to understand, to learn, and then adhere to those. If you don't understand and if you don't realize why you are doing it, it's very difficult. So, and we want AI to pick up way more to actually help people to do that. So hopefully.
Oh, it will happen. World domination. And this is more of a personal question, motivation. So, those days that it's a rainy day and everything it's a problem and nothing works and the computer freezes and the phone doesn't stop ringing. Those days that you don't want to get up. How do you keep that motivation going?
I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly bombarded with problems. Whether it's finance problem, whether it's team problem, whether it's customer problem, whether it's getting new business problem, like, it's a very lonely place. So one thing, you have to be very clear in your head why you are doing this. So my intention is always that I need to solve that problem. This is a big problem. I can't solve it myself, but I can do my bit. And that is the biggest motivation. But also to surround yourself with people who understands the problem and who thinks that what you were doing is actually contributing positively.
Yes.
In Empeal, we are actually I don't know whether it's because of my background of work or what, but we are very keen on always measuring impact. So we're probably one of the very early startups who are constantly measuring impact in terms of engagement, in terms of health outcomes, in terms of things like even understanding the quality of care that is happening even within our customers, giving that information to them, and constantly measuring what is working for them, what is not working for them. So data actually motivates me a lot.
Yeah, so you're getting constant feedback rather than do something and what happens in a few weeks time or a few months time that you get.
When I see data improving, I'm very happy.
So if you had to give an advice to the younger self when you were, early 20, what would you say to yourself about, entrepreneurship or, one type of, something that you wish you would have known or,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I would have listened. If I have to give some advice, one thing I would say that everything at the end gets better. So not better, everything at the end works out.
Works out,
so I would say don't worry so much. Just go and do it. I can understand my parents' frustration. Don't just sit there and complain about it. Just do it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So the main thing is don't be afraid of failure. I think that would be my biggest advice.
That's great. And my last question, actually, no, I have two questions. So my second last question is, what does entrepreneurship means to you?
There are a few things. One is being proactive and looking at a problem and never say that, oh, this can't be solved. There is always a way to solve. It might not be a great way to solve, but there is always any problem. If there is a problem, that means there is a solution. That I seriously believe that. And that is definitely one thing which I think entrepreneurs' culture needs to be, that if there is a problem, never say it can't be solved. The other thing is I love working for something which is actually having an impact and I can see it directly.
So it's imagine something and then impact, see the solution implemented.
And having an impact. As I said, I'm always about impact. So if I'm doing something, it might not have an impact or it might have an impact. I always would like to understand whether it's having an impact or not, and if it's having an impact, how much. Again, that nerdy data.
Well, no, that's a great motivation and a great driver is to know what you're trying to do and how to get there, and then you have your measurements to see, well, I am going on the right direction or should I be turning to the other side now?
Exactly. Sometimes things don't work, so you need to change.
And my last question then, Sohini, is for those students that might have a business idea, might think about they want to start their business, is there any advice, is there 3 tips that you will give them? So you gave me really good ones. You've already given me being open to feedback, being agile, a co-creation model, but will those be the top 3 that you have to give someone that is still in college and trying to decide, well, like, what do I do next, or what is important for me to have in my head?
I think the first thing you need is to find the problem that you really want to solve. That would be the first step, and then try out that solution which you have in your head with the people you think that it'll help them. Now get that feedback, whether it's working or not, and what would work, and then improve or tweak your solution as per their requirement, not what
you want.
And the third thing is definitely find a program like New Frontiers Phase 1. I think it's one of the best. But there are lots of other programs coming up as well. Ireland is very supportive of early stage entrepreneurs and startup. The amount of work you guys are doing, even at university level, absolutely. When we were growing up, we didn't have that. So when I was in my 20s, I never thought that I'll be an entrepreneur. I wanted to work for somebody. It never occurred to me because there was no Glòria, and her team, and no GROWTHhub. Find those some of those where you can actually practice what you are trying to do, finding that product market fit, knowing where to go to look for help, for funding, for how to pitch. That's the biggest trouble that I'm still struggling with. Every time somebody comes back and says, I actually don't understand what you said. Now in my head I'm going, but I spoke English. But most of the time it's probably not even understandable to others. So always take feedback, and find those programs really help you to kind of streamline your thoughts. But the biggest one is just go and do it.
Do it and learn from it.
If you don't do it, you don't learn. You don't.
And what you were saying, not to be afraid of failure. Failure is a learning tool that we must embrace.
Oh my God, yes. Even in studies and everything. One thing I was always encouraged in my family was like my parents would never distinguish between me and my brother. We had equal access, which was brilliant, but at the same time we were told that just try whatever you want to do. If you fail, you fail. You get up and do it again. Like, don't sit there and cry that, oh, I failed, but do it.
Do it and learn from it. So, Sohini, it was a pleasure to have you here to share all your tips and all your trips and the whole journey of your entrepreneurship. And
thank you so much.
It was fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Glòria, and thank you, GROWTHhub, and good luck to everybody. And I'm delighted to be here today. Thanks for thinking of me.
A pleasure.